So, about this time last year, I ranked my top 25 roller coasters. That was before I did a bunch of new parks in 2019, and I was able to go to again. So, without further ado, here is my top 25 roller coasters. As of early 2020, I'm probably going to be riding a bunch more this year, so it'll probably change again before next year. Number 25, Twister at Knoebels. This is kind of a fun coaster. It's kind of more on here just because of how unique it is. Kind of just weird, there's no piece of straight track on the coaster, and it's just a lot of fun to ride. I've been to Knoebels a bunch, so I've ridden this coaster a lot. So number 24, Lightning Racer at Hershey Park. I went to Hershey Park probably at least 20-30 times this year, so I got on Lightning Racer a lot. And if you kind of notice, it moved down a lot. I feel like I kind of deified this coaster a bit because it's a great GCI, but it's not as great as I thought it was or something. So it's kind of moved down a bit. I still like it. I mean, it's in my top 25 roller coasters out of almost 200. And number 23, Raptor at Cedar Point. This is just a great old school B&M invert, super forceful, nice long ride. Never ride, just a lot of fun. I always try and get on one if I can see a point. Number 22, Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. This was one of the coasters I rode in 2019, and it was awesome. It was such a fun coaster. Has that great dive into the tunnel, and just all around a lot of fun. One of my favorite B&M dives. Number 21, Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. Another Canada's Wonderland coaster. This was the first B&M Giga, built in 2012, and it could be better. It very obviously was the prototype for a coaster like Fury 325. It's still a lot of fun. It's definitely better in the front row than the back row. Just that sensation of speed and just you actually get better airtime in the front row, at least from my experience. So number 21 is Leviathan. Number 20, Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. Like Lightning Racer, this is number 1. I was able to get on a bunch more and it moved down a lot. The big thing for Phantom's Revenge is it's not a long ride. I for some reason remember it being a lot longer than it actually is, but the one thing that saves it a lot is some insane airtime. You're just flying out of your seat constantly on Phantom's Revenge. Number 19, Afterburn at Carowinds. This is another old school B&M invert like Raptor. This is just insanely forceful. It's pretty much is the antithesis to, oh, B&Ms aren't forceful. This is just such a great coaster. It's not very tall, it's not very fast, but it pulls those G's, especially on the Batwing and that first inversion. So that puts Afterburn at number 19. Number 18, Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. The very first B&M Hyper to make this list. I was able to get on this one a couple times this year. Got almost a Zen ride on it, riding by myself earlier this year during Ride of the Bull. And I also rode it in the freezing cold, because that was a lot of fun. This coaster gives a lot of great airtime. It's actually pretty forceful as well. That Helix about midway through is great. Some of those airtime hills on the way back, you're just flying out of your seat. It is so much fun. And that's to put Nitro at number 18. Number 17, Banshee at Kings Island. Oh boy. I know I said I like those old school B&M inverts. Well, here's a very recent one. Banshee is, I'm pretty sure, the tallest and fastest B&M invert, and also the longest. It is just so great. It's just one inversion after another. You're not getting a lot of forces, but you're getting some great hang time, and it's just a great ride all around, and also pretty long. So that's Banshee at number 17. Number 16, another Hershey Park coaster, Storm Runner. This is one of my favorite launch coasters. Just incredibly forceful in that launch. Gives a great view of the park up from that top of the lift, from the top of the first hill, and sends you plummeting down. And it's a pretty short ride. Could be a lot long. Well, not a lot longer. It doesn't have a lot of space that's working with, but just that launch and that anticipation is great on Storm Runner. Number 15. I'm gonna get a lot of people pissed off for this because a lot of people rank it higher than Storm Runner. Well, actually a lot lower, but sorry, ignore that. Is Fahrenheit at Hershey Park. I personally prefer this coaster to Storm Runner. I don't know why. I may just get like a lot more airtime on it. That first drop and also that hill near the end give a lot of airtime. And just both actually some decent forces. For some reason, the Cobra roll wasn't as rattly this year, which it used to be, but I'm not sure. It's also getting repainted, so it looks really pretty now. So that's 15, Fahrenheit. Number 14, Diamondback at Kings Island. I love this coaster. I'm just gonna say it right now. It's such a great ride. I only got on a few times, gonna get on more in 2020. And Diamondback just gives great airtime. It's just a nice long ride out into the woods. And it's not exactly forceful in that helix at the end is kind of weak. But just you're floating out of your seat the entire ride. And it's so much fun. So that's 14 of Diamondback. And going straight into another B&M Hyper at number 13, Behemoth. I'd say it's probably my favorite B&M Hyper. It has a pretty simple layout, almost just an out and back layout actually, just with a helix right at the end. But just the sheer amount and the intensity of airtime on Behemoth. You're flying out, you'll see if you're in the back row, the entire ride. It's so awesome. You're going also over the water for a bit, which is great, gives some really scenic views, and it's just such a fun ride. So, number 12, Thunderhead. It's been a while since we've seen a wooden on this list, huh? Yeah, it's Thunderhead at Dollywood. Probably one of the best GCIs out there, at least personally my favorite. It's just a long ride, just keeps on going and going and going. You're just getting a bunch of airtime, a bunch of forces. It's just a great ride. Number 11, Millennium Force, Cedar Point. The very first Giga. And it holds up. I like it at least. Yeah, I think it's pretty forceful, at least in a few moments. Coming out of that huge first turnaround is great. Gives some great airtime. And just no fun ride. With a lot of airtime, forces, and just all around great to ride. Number 10, Fury 325. One of the most hyped coasters on the planet. Oh. Yep, it's a lot of fun. And unfortunately, I said this last time in my countdown, it's not that great in the back row. I rode in the back row and the front row, and the front row, so much better. It's great airtime. Just that sensation of speed, just a wind hitting your face that you can't hear anything else. It's incredible. But that, in fact, it's kind of weak in the back row, definitely drags Fury 325 down. Number 9, Ravine Flyer II at Waldameer. This is kind of a dark horse. You hear it mentioned once in a while with some like the best woodens. It pops up like on the Golden Ticket Awards and stuff like that. But this coaster blew me away. I went in pretty much blind, didn't watch any reviews on it, and it's incredible. You're just flying. You feel like you're flying pretty much. It's great. You're just out of your seat constantly, has those insane 90-degree bank turns, and it is just awesome. So Ravine Flyer II at Waldameer is number 9. Number 8, Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. Oh boy, the airtime monster itself, at least that's how I refer to it. You are just being thrown out of your seat constantly. I don't think you're even in your seat for most of this ride. Just airtime hill after airtime hill after airtime hill after that first turnaround, obviously. It's just such a great ride. I've gotten a bunch of rides on it, and that's why Twisted Timbers is at number 8. Number 7, Skyrush at Hershey Park. Yes, it is my favorite coaster at Hershey Park, in case you couldn't tell. Okay, Skyrush has the most forceful airtime on the planet. That's it. It has some of the most intense and insane ejector airtime on any coaster ever. That's why I love it. Just that back row ride on one of the wing seats, you are just being thrown. You feel like you're about to fly out, pretty much. GPs love this coaster. Kind of hate that term, but it's easier to say in general public right now that you feel like you're gonna die on it, pretty much. So that's why Skyrush is number 7. Number 6, Phoenix at Knoebels. Has one up a bit higher, I think, last time, or maybe the same place. I could just go up and check, but So Phoenix is just so great. It is the original airtime monster because it has those buzz bars. You are physically out of your seat, especially if you're getting a good night ride on this when it's running fast. Oh boy, that's an experience. So that's why Phoenix is number 6. Number 5, Maverick at Cedar Point. Just that first launch, those sheer turnarounds, that airtime, you're just being thrown around, and that second launch is great as well. It only has 2 inversions, which doesn't need that many. And it's just so awesome. That's why Maverick is number 5. Number 4, Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. Possibly the most intense coaster in existence. Well, possibly. There's obviously some like insane ones that run like they're not supposed to, like Chimera, which doesn't run anymore. So Intimidator 305, pulling 5 Gs, pretty much sustained throughout the entire first drop. It is insane. This is the only coaster that's ever made me fully black out. And you don't get a lot of airtime, it's a shorter ride, but those G's are sustained, and you feel like you're just flying around, being whipped in every direction. It is incredible, forceful, and wonderful. That brings us to number 3, Lightning Ride at Dollywood. I initially didn't like this coaster the first time we rode it because I rode in the back row, and it's infamously kind of rough in the back row. I got a couple front row rides and loved it. This was actually one of my first RMCs, and you are just being thrown. It has some of the most insane airtime. That quadruple down is just wonderful. Pretty much all of this ride is awesome. So that's Lightning Ride at number 3. Number 2, El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. If you talk to me a bit, you know I love this coaster with a passion. I've ridden it possibly more than any coaster ever besides coasters at like Hershey Park or Knoebels. If you can get a night ride on this, wow. That ejector time is insane pretty much. That final rolling thunder hill right before you start into really low to the ground section where you're sweeping back and forth is great. You just thrown. You feel like you're riding a bull pretty much, which is the entire point of it. That brings us to number 1, and to the surprise of no one, it is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, the best coaster in the world. And also, in my opinion, but I know it's a lot of people consider it to be the best in the world. Just an incredible airtime monster, the most airtime on the planet. If you can get a nighttime or a sunset ride on Steel Vengeance, do it. It is worth it. And just not in your seat at all. Just pop 2 minutes of just sheer insanity and just wonderfulness. That's what puts Steel Vengeance at number 1 on my list. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess just keep watching if you want to.